Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com and the Black Boss channel. Today, we're talking about Black Panther 2. Black Panther 2, and there's a sister named Letitia Wright. And Letitia's going to need a whole lot of y'all's prayers because Letitia is getting the business from Disney. Apparently, Disney is really pissed off at Letitia because Letitia, you can guess why. You know why. It's because Letitia won't get the JAB. She no jab, no job. Y'all know what it is. So we just thought it would be important to kind of address this and bring this to your attention in case our sister needs some prayers and maybe some weapons or some backup or whatever it is. And so to help with this conversation or to talk about this, I brought along Jeff Lightsey Jr. from the Black Boss channel. How you doing today, Jeff?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Dr. Boyce?
Doing good, man. Doing good. All right, so Jeff, okay, so you were over at the Black Boss channel, and you actually brought this to my attention that Letitia is getting some having some serious problems right now. What's the nature of what's going on with her? And I thought she was going to be the star of the next Black Panther 2 and all these other things. So what's going on between Letitia and Disney?
So with Letitia Wright, as some of you know, she was Shuri in the first Black Panther. She was the sister of T'Challa. She was the sister to the king. So she was, everything that took place. She was the scientist in the movie. She was one of the comedic reliefs while also being like the smartest person in the entire movie. So she plays a huge part, right? And so now, obviously, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. The next title of Black Panther is Letitia, is Shuri. And so she was being prepped as the next go to in the Black Panther 2 movie. Now, obviously, the virus came and took over our lives over the last 2 years, roughly, right? So, what happened with Letitia back in 2020? She had her doubts about the virus and specifically the jab. She had her doubts, just a lot, like a lot of Americans across the country, not just Black Americans, but a lot of Americans or a lot of people. But Letitia actually isn't from America, and she reposted the preachings of a preacher from over in England, and a lot of people took offense to that. Just like how they took offense to, say, a Farrakhan's speech about, the jab back in last year. Letitia had a preacher that she follows that had a similar kind of sermon, like, yo, I'm not telling you what to do. Just be weary of something that they're putting out so fast, right? Like we're talking about something that's supposed to save you, and they're putting it out this fast. And he went on to say that pharmaceutical companies don't care about your health, they care about their bottom line. And so that's what she reposted. Now, obviously, the Twitter warriors, the Disney warriors, whoever went after her, right? Including one of her co-stars in Don Cheadle, who happens to be Black, but happens to also be in that same movie. So, you get a lot of credibility when you get people in the same movie going after each other. So she went on to say, like I said, I'm not anti jab. I'm just telling you why I'm not getting it, right? Why I'm kind of skeptical, why I'm kind of weary. And that wasn't good enough. So the trolls kept attacking her. She actually deactivated all of her social media platforms, right? So now Black Panther 2 is actually being shot. They're in production, they're shooting the movie, they're doing the stuff, and it's down in Atlanta. We know Atlanta doesn't have any jab mandates or anything like that. And so a lot of the reporters are saying that Letitia's spreading anti-jab, propaganda on set, even though she's already come out and said she's not, anti anything. What I believe is taking place is that she's being, berated with questions about why she doesn't have the jab, and she's simply answering them. And so if you answer them in a way as a celebrity that is against the going grain, right, against Fauci, against Biden, against everybody that's telling you to get it, then you're anti something, right? We got to got to label you as something because we have to just make your opinion seems like it's not credible or anything. So one way to kill somebody's credibility is give them a name. Call them a name, anti-Semitic, anti-vax, anti-whatever, right? So that's a really quick way to discredit somebody. And I think that's what's taking place with her right now. So it's going to be interesting to watch what takes place because Disney also, I think in the next week, is implementing a jab mandate for all of their movie sets. Now, currently, Black Panther 2 is under production, being shot, filmed, or whatever. Is that something they're going to force with their current actors or actresses that are already in shooting? or can they kind of like grandfather them in? It's going to be really interesting to watch that moving forward.
All right. Everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with Jeff Lightsey Jr. from the Black Balls channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, thumbs up right now, thumbs up. Please do that. Very important because, as you know, we live in some interesting times right now where intelligence is not necessarily appreciated if you don't go along with the crowd. But as you can see on this shirt, intelligence over ignorance. I will always believe that, and I believe it is okay to step out here and say, look, I'm not sure about that. Let me think about that. I'm not going to go along and do what everybody else is doing. And so anyway, so here's what I'm processing. First of all, I'm going to ask everybody, Letitia Wright, I assume, how many of you all heard about any of this? How many of y'all heard about what was going on with her and Disney, and you know, that she was going to be, I think she's scheduled to be the new Black Panther. Like literally, this was a big bet they were making on her. And Letitia is not just some little actress they can sweep off the floor. You remember, I don't know if any of y'all heard about this, but remember your boy, remember how Iron Man 1 had Terrence Howard was in Iron Man 1 and he played Don Cheadle's role, and then he got a little bit out of pocket, and then Don Cheadle popped in Iron Man 2
with the same name
like,
and the same guy.
Yeah, they were like, you're not even gonna notice that we switch Negroes on y'all. That, you know, because this ain't like, you know, Fresh Prince Aunt Viv. I don't know if you remember when they switched out Aunt Viv again, made her light skinned and act like nothing happened. like this ain't an Aunt Viv situation. This is a situation where we know y'all gonna keep watching the movie because you're here to see Iron Man and see Robert Downey Jr. Letitia Wright, to me, is the kind of actress that you cannot just replace, right? She's the kind of person that is highly significant in this film. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, I don't really see what she tweeted being that bad. I actually got a copy while you were speaking. I grabbed a copy of a couple of her tweets, and I'm gonna read this to y'all in case you can't see it. And so here's what happened. Laura Leishman, who is some person, they have a blue check mark, so maybe they think they're important. Laura Leishman says all the questions you have been answered. You're just too lazy to read a medical journal. And Letitia says, still have a right to worry about how my body will react. It's not lazy. It's thinking for myself. She didn't get rude with her. She didn't get nearly as rude with the lady as the lady got with her. You know, she called her lazy and all this other stuff, telling people go read medical journals. Don't nobody read no damn medical journal. Let me ask y'all right now, how many of y'all, give me a yes or no in the chat, how many of y'all in this room have ever read an entire article in a medical journal before? Give me any academic journal. I come from academia. I've written, you can Google it right now. I've written several like peer-reviewed referee papers in academic journals in finance. And even I, as a member of that profession, did not enjoy reading academic journal articles. Like, seriously, I mean, I read them because it was my job and I had a PhD, right, in my field. I did not read medical journal articles in anybody else's field. That is some difficult shit. Like that's not, you know, so for her to say you're too lazy to read a medical journal, man, I'm sorry. Forgive me for cussing on a Monday, but fuck you. You know, seriously, like, fuck you, Karen. Like, what is it? Are you serious right now? Jeff, please talk before I say something that's gonna get me in trouble. What are your thoughts?
No, it's just like you said, and like whether we're talking about Letitia, whether we're talking about Kyrie Irving, right? Because Kyrie Irving is kind of in the same boat. He's Letitia's fighting Disney, Kyrie's fighting the NBA, right? These are two like heavyweights, right? It ain't like it's like going to the ring with Tyson Fury. We saw Tyson Fury beat up on Deontay Wilder this weekend.
We can't talk about that. We're going to wipe the Deontay Wilder fight out of the Negro out of the black man archives.
Yeah,
because because y'all know how the story usually ends. Usually the Mandingo wins, but in this case, we're gonna let him slide on that. Go ahead, please.
Okay, but it's like going into a heavyweight battle against Mike Tyson, right, in his prime, right? Because these are entities that are used to losing. When their employees get out of line, you pop them back in a line and you keep it moving, right? Like, this is not something that they're not used to. A player of Kyrie's magnitude saying, I'm willing to give up $16 million, right? $400,000 a game, right? I'm not, or Letitia, someone, I'm not willing to walk away or stand on my values against the biggest, movie maker in the world with one of the biggest movies in the world. Like, let's talk about it. Black people made Black Panther probably the most successful single movie, not a series, but single movie in Disney history, without the backings of like the Avengers, where you get all your top superheroes together. Black Panther stood on its own as one of the largest movies Disney's ever put out, and that's because of black people. And Letitia Wright, as of right now, is willing to, it sounds like, to almost give all of that up because she believes in what she believes in. That is a different level of courage, because Letitia Wright probably wouldn't be like, we wouldn't know this household name if she wasn't in Black Panther. And so for her to say, yes, okay, I got what I needed out of that movie, and I still want to do it, right? I still want to be a part of the culture, but I want to have a say on what goes in my body. Like, I own my body. I own me. So
Wait,
for her,
wait, wait. You mean she's trying to say it's her body, her choice?
I mean, that's what it
Who would
sounds
say
like.
some ridiculous shit like that? My body, my choice. What why would liberals ever agree with a statement like that?
Man, I mean, it sounds like they're not used to. They're not used to saying hear you saying my body, my choice. Because for a long time, for a lot of people still, like for example, Andrew Wiggins, right? He was one of those people that were kind of against the shot. They said they threatened him the same way they threatened Kyrie Irving, and he got it. And he went up to a podium and basically said, I don't own my body, right? The NBA owns my body. Like, so he literally went up there and almost said that verbatim, like, yo, I didn't really want to do it, but I didn't want to miss no checks, right? The NBA owns my body, so like I got to do what they got to say. You know what I'm saying? And what does that sound like? That just sounds like whipping you back into line, making sure you don't get out of line. And if you do, we have to put the foot down and remind you, like, yo, you still belong to us. That doesn't sound
I
like
mean,
unfamiliar.
let's be clear with Andrew Wiggins and all of that. I mean, his statement, the NBA owns my body. I mean, we know what that is, right? With black people, if anybody knows what it means for somebody to own your body, it's us. And I mean, what he really is talking about is slavery. I mean, that's what it is, right? And the difference is that this is still slavery, but it's high paid slavery. And instead of somebody else profiting from your body, you're actually going to profit from your body, you and your family, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as chattel slavery, where a person's body was sold by another person,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you are still selling your body. And I think that was profound for him to say that, because that's kind of what it is. It's kind of in your face. And the next point that you jumped on that I thought was really interesting was you talked about how much money these Disney movies have made. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but like they really, I mean, black people, they make a killing off of y'all. Like y'all are some real profitable people when y'all get pumped up and excited about a movie. They sell y'all good fantasy. Everybody get paid. Let me show y'all this quick little chart. Here are the highest grossing Disney films in history. It's hard to read, so I'm gonna read some of it to you. And let me just say this: Black Panther is not the highest grossing Marvel film ever. I said Marvel films. I mean, I said Disney films, so I meant to say Marvel films. But it is the highest grossing Marvel film about one particular
Yes.
superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only movies that have made more than Black Panther are the Avengers movies, Age of Ultron, the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. Those all made more money because you needed multiple superheroes to take on the one black man, right? Kind of like everything else in the world, right? Because we are superheroes in real life. But if you look at the list, number 5 after the Avengers movies is Black Panther, $1.3 billion. Next is The Incredibles 2, Iron Man 3, Captain America, Aquaman, Spider-Man, etc. You go down the list down to Joker and The Dark Knight. But literally up there, in the top, we're in the top 5, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
movie is big. So and they expect Black Panther 2, I assume, to be bigger.
Right
And
up there.
Letitia Wright wasn't just going to be a character in Black Panther 2. She was going to be the Black Panther. Holy shit. I mean, that's insane. So what are they going to do? Like, are they going to do an Aunt Viv and just swap her out? Like, what do you think? How do you think it's going to play out, Jeff?
So what's going to end up happening is they're going to have to just, what I imagine, they're going to have to just work with her, right? They're going to actually pretend as if, you know what I mean, she actually has rights, and pretend like she actually is a human being, and pretend like, she's part of the rest of the world who decide not to get the jab, and continue to move on, right? Because you can't just swap her out. You're risking too much money. And like, that's the thing. These corporations don't really care about Letitia Wright's actual rights, civil rights or whatever. They care about their bottom line. And if you take her out, instead of getting that 1.3, you hope to get like 1.5 or 1.6, right? But instead of getting that 1.3, you might get 900 million, right, instead of 1.3 billion, and that's a $400 million loss in their mind, right? So it's like, no, we can't just do that. We can't swap her out because once again, they're recording down in Atlanta, so there's no like statewide mandates, citywide mandates. Not in a place like Atlanta. We've both been there during the pandemic. It's wide open and everything seems to be going just fine. So you can't do that. If they were out in like California or something or New York, they might try to like say, well, the city says you got to do this. There's none of that down in Georgia. So you have to continue to move it on and just actually allow her to have her own thoughts and opinion. And for some corporations, and the problem is moving forward, she probably just won't have a large role with Disney, right? They got to do this because they cast her in the first one. And she is like, too many black people will say, yo, if you get rid of her, you're getting rid of me, right? Like, I'm not going to watch it. And you don't want that to happen. So they're going to have to move forward with her and just, deal with the consequences that is, saying someone actually got over on you this time.
Hmm. Well, everybody, I'm speaking with Jeff Lightsey Jr. We're talking about Black Panther 2 actress Letitia Wright, who is under fire and may get fired because she's refusing to get the jab. And this has become a really controversial issue, and there's a lot to talk about. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Quick housekeeping. Please do this for me. Give us a thumbs up button or subscribe, and also put a B1 in the chat. After you do that, let us know that you can support the channel and help us grow. We're trying to create black media. We're trying to compete with Disney, right? So help us compete with Disney. Hit that thumbs up, share, subscribe button. It really helps us. Also, J Lighty 7 is where you can follow Jeff on Instagram and Twitter. He tweets every day. He does content every day. He's really, really good at what he does. And also, don't forget, Jeff, along with about 40 other people, are going to be at the All Black National Convention in Orlando, October 29th through November 1st. This is where we're gathering over 40 experts in the black community to basically solve our problems. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're doing a backyard barbecue. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. So if you're part of the B1 community, feel free to join us at the All Black National Convention. It's going to be really good. Dr. Claude Anderson, Julian Gord, the real estate expert, Brother Nuri Muhammad. That's just a couple people. I mean, there's so many other people, Vicky Dillard and Queen Afua, and so many other great people going to be there. So I hope you'll join us at the convention. Just go to allblacknationalconvention.com and take a look. So let me let me mention this, Jeff. I'm gonna throw some out here for you. And now here's the thing. I want to ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no. How many of y'all trust Big Pharma? Like, how many of y'all are have a trust and belief that the pharmaceutical industry is completely engaged in making sure that we are as healthy as possible? How many of y'all feel that Big Pharma can be trusted in all of this? I'm going to say no. I think you probably guess what my answer is, and let me tell you why the answer is no. The reason Big Pharma is a problem. I mean, in fact, if you took Big Pharma out of it, I would probably have more trust in the process. The problem is you got the government partnering with Big Pharma, so it's like the local crackhead, partnering with the local dope dealer and saying, we want to give your children healthy food every day. You're going to be like, no, because you smoke crack and you sell it. I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with either one of y'all. Right. And I think that's what is the elephant in the room that nobody else is talking about. And the thing about Big Pharma is, they make a ton of money keeping people hooked on dope. Did you know in 2018, I'm going to read a couple stats about Big Pharma. This is something you really want to understand. Not because, and it's not me telling you what to do or what not to do. It's to say that Letitia Wright has a point. She's not talking crazy. She's not saying don't do it. She's saying, I need to think about this because this is a big decision for me, and so while they might say only a small percentage of people have, the terrible side effects, the heart stuff and all that, you saw, and I'm sorry, God bless Mark Lamont Hill. I hope he's okay. But when he said he was 42 years old and had a heart attack, and I knew Mark is not an unhealthy guy. That really kind of that stopped me. That made me say, whoa, and it wasn't as if that's the only thing I've seen. I know people who did that, who came back and said, yeah, something. I know a guy who is literally about as far from being anti as you can get. Very apolitical, very much like, sure, I'm just going to do it because everybody else is doing it. I want to keep my corporate position. He got the first shot, had a really bad reaction. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I know that he was so scared. I said, did you get the second one? He said, no. He said, no, man, I'm not messing with that. And to hear that come from him, a mild-mannered person, it tells me, here's what it says to me, right? It says there's a lot we're probably not getting, we're not hearing, right? Because they know the public is going to react so strongly. So they're like, we're just going to act like everything's okay. and we know it's not okay, right? So anyway, let me read. So really, it's a risk reward trade off thing, right? So big pharma. Here's the interesting thing about big pharma. In 2018, the total amount of money they made was about 1.1 trillion. The U.S. market contributes 56% to the global sales of best-selling drugs. 85% of all drug exports come from only 15 countries. Let's see here. There was another statement that I saw that was really interesting. I think they said something like 70% of all Americans are on some sort of mind altering drug, which is crazy, right? Or no, sorry, it wasn't 70%. Scratch that. My mistake. It was about 70 million. I believe it was 70 million Americans, which is about, I want to say about a fifth of the population. About so one in every five people is on some drug that fucks with their brain, that changes their mind, right? And that to me is a little bit problematic because I want to know, how do you get healthy enough to stay away from all this stuff? Like, how do you get healthy enough where I don't need to go get a pill or go get a jab? And that was one of the reasons why I had long conversations with people like Queen of Fool, because I'm like, what's really going on here, right? Or another thing that's really interesting is I did something on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins, and I just put this stat up. I did not say a word about it. I didn't give any commentary. I just want people to see the top 10 causes of death for Americans. And what was really fascinating to me is that the top 10 causes of death for Americans, the top two, and I'm gonna share my screen here. I want y'all to really see this. This is important for just for you to know. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want you to kind of just take a look at this. Here are the top 10 causes of death for Americans. The top two are heart disease and cancer, 659,000, 599,000. Then you go into some other areas, strokes and Alzheimer's and diabetes and all that. But one of the things that I thought about was, I said, okay, so remember, the number of people that died from this virus is about the same number of people that died from heart disease. The numbers are very similar. It's similar to the same number of people that died from cancer. Now, here's what's interesting, right? We know that heart disease and cancer, a lot of that's linked to food that we're being sold, that's been FDA approved, that's being sold by these big food corporations, McDonald's and Burger King and all that. And we also know that now we're learning that things like sugar are highly addictive, and that they push these things down our throat. So it comes off a little disingenuous to me when you're trying to make me as sick as possible by feeding me unhealthy food, but then you're trying to convince me that you care about my health by giving me a jab or a pill. I'd rather have you stop the train from the beginning and stop putting food in my body, or convincing me to put food in my body that's going to make me sick enough that the only solution I have is to get a jab or a pill, right? What are your thoughts on all that, Jeff?
No, absolutely. Like, if you, like you said, if you really wanted to make Americans, specifically Black Americans, healthy, you would stop advertising to them all the malt liquor or Hennessy, or all of these different things that you want to make it seem like it's very cool and out there, and really, like, if you really care about, because that's the thing. If Letitia Wright was white, and that was one of the things that I brought up in my last video, Letitia Wright is not the only actress and or actor in Hollywood that is against getting the jab, right? Rob Schneider, who is really known for being in a lot of like Adam Sandler movies and a lot of like comedies and stuff, he also is what they would call an anti-vaxxer, right? But you're not hearing his name because, one, he's a white man, and two, he has nothing to do with one of the biggest movies in movie history, Black Panther 2. But because Letitia Wright is a woman and she's a Black woman and she's on the set of a Disney, large budgeted Disney movie that hopes to bring in billions of dollars, not just like a couple hundred million or a few thousand, no, billions with a big B, then they want to make sure that she's in line, right? She has too many, she marks too many boxes for someone to be trying to get out of line, and especially during a time like this. So that, yeah, if you really wanted Black people to be more healthy, then you would promote to them better food, more exercise, like listening, like what you take in as far as your music and all the energy that you surround yourself with. You do those kind of things, and more than just marketing a jab, right? It takes a lot more to get our community healthy and on the right track than just getting a jab. I mean, I also brought up this video, Monster Ray, boys. He's someone that is a friend of the show and everything. He was on a panel full of Black people. I mean, like literally full of Black people. I imagine like highly educated Black people, right? And one of the guys on there, I don't know his name, he had a North Carolina A&T shirt on, so I'm guessing he is either a graduate of HBCU or he's a supporter of an HBCU. He's someone who seems very educated. He literally said this. I don't care what you do, how many green juices you drink, how healthy you are. If you don't get the jab, you have no shot in fighting against the virus. Like, this is from him, and there were people on there agreeing with him. And I commended Maj because he was like, nah, dude, I'm not just gonna let you get away with that. Like, I'm not just gonna let you sit here and say it don't matter how much you exercise, what you put in your body, what's taking place, in your life, that it doesn't matter. If you don't get the jab, you don't have a chance against this virus. And we know that simply is not true, but the brainwashing is on. Like, it literally is on when somebody is silly enough to say something like that over airways in front of, I imagine, thousands of people. It's just, it's ridiculous, man.
Well, everybody, I'm here with Jeff Lacey Jr. and we're talking about Letitia Wright from the Black Panther movie, and Letitia is probably going to have some problems with Disney and and Marvel because she refuses to get the jab, and they're basically mandating this. And so anyway, if you could please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button, and also just a reminder, you can get a free e-copy of my book. It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar if you go to boycewatkins.com. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com, and the book is free. You guys can have it. So I'll give my last word on this, Jeff. Then I'll let you get the last word. I think that we're just kind of in the situation where I think some of this is going to go away. The reason I think it's going to go away is because when people are afraid, they react differently than when they're not afraid. When they're afraid, they become irrational. Remember, you have a lot of people that are just straight up germaphobes, that were scared to death of germs before the pandemic happened. So when you suddenly have a germ that legit can kill you, and the government saying, watch out, hide your wife, hide your kids, or whatever, then it becomes, unfortunately, validation for what some might deem an extremist point of view. It's like if I live in a neighborhood where, people get shot sometimes, and let's say there's a drive-by and, something terrible happens at a playground or whatever, I can say, see, I told you. That's why we got to keep the kids indoors, keep them in the house forever, and I get that, right? I completely get the concern, and I think and it's legit. It's in my house. It's in my own family. A lot of us have families that are divided on this issue. And so you have to respect that, right? Maybe that means wearing a mask or sanitizer and all that. But I think at the same time, though, my hope is that I just don't see how the world can continue to operate like this. I know a lot of people who are ready to quit their jobs over this. I know a lot of people who are ready to just get off the grid because of this. I know a lot of people who are like, okay, I'm never going to go to LA ever again. You tell me I can't go indoors, in LA or New York. I'm not going to LA or New York anymore. I'm gonna go to the South. So that makes the South almost like another country, and I have to confront this because, I'll be quite frank. I haven't gotten it right. But I'm not anti. I just thought about it. I thought about it. You know what I thought about, man? I thought about it like the way I think about getting the insurance when I go to Circuit City, right? When you buy a laptop at Circuit City and they say, would you like to get the insurance? And I'm like, how much is it? And it'll be like $1,000 laptop. They'll be like, the insurance will be $200. So in my mind, I'll be like 200 over 1,000. I remember I'm a statistician. I was like, that means that I have to have a 20% chance that I'm going to break this thing and then actually want to come in and get it fixed and go to Geek Squad and all that. I was like, and I'll say, nah, that's all right. I don't want the insurance, right? I'm cool. Now here's the thing. Just because turning down the insurance absolutely puts more risk on me. Now, turning down the insurance does not mean I'm not acknowledging that there's a risk, right? Turning down the insurance just means that the risk does not outweigh the reward. That for me, it's like, no, I'll keep this risk. It's okay. I'll carry this risk with me because because the risk reward trade-off just doesn't work out. So when I think about the jab, it's the same way. I think that there can be an argument to be made that getting that jab could potentially do all the things they say it does, right? They used to say it will protect you completely. They jumped off that shit a long time ago. That was a problem, right? Because now you're already letting us know that you don't know everything. You're already letting us know that you're not sure, right? Now, because you keep changing the story. Let's just be honest. Even people who disagree with me have to be honest and say that the story changes every month. right?
Yeah,
Right? You
and
get what I'm saying?
how can you be all the way sure? Like the virus has only technically been around for less than 2 years, and the jab has been out at least what 6, 8, 9 months now at this point. So we're talking about almost roughly around a year. You had a jab or something that's supposed to protect you from it, when typically studies on something like that, like when you get your flu shot, that's been tested for years before it was put out and deemed this much effective, right? It's 90% effective, 98% effective, but it was tested for years. We're talking about something that's been tested for less than so and so, like, then it's okay to have some cause for worry, especially when different strands come out. Okay, yeah, we put out this jab for this, but now there's the Delta variant, and now there's this variant, and now there's this variant. And so, like, yeah, it's okay to have like cause for concern. And just because somebody thinks like you, especially even with the jab, you can still catch it, you can still catch the virus, and you can still spread the virus.
Man, right, right. So we know all these things, right? So to me, it's like me not getting the shot does not mean I don't believe that it at least does the things that right now you're saying that it does. Like now, remember they when they changed the story, they suddenly changed it to, well, you can still catch it, but you can't spread it. Then it's like, but you can catch it and you can spread it, but it's not going to be as bad. You're not as likely to get hospital. Okay, okay, so you're still you keep changing your story, but let's assume that the story you have right now is the accurate one. Although I doubt that. I think in 6 months they're going to know more than they know right now. I really believe that. But even if it does what you say it does, I've just decided that I'm okay with taking that risk. And why is that? Well, because I'm not going to let you tell me that I'm crazy or stupid, because I came to my own conclusion. I looked at the data and said, okay, how many people died and who died. I looked at the age breakdown. I said, how many people died between 80 and 90? How many died between 70 and 80? How many And what you saw was that when you got really old, yeah, the numbers were like crazy, right? But then as you got younger, it got lower and lower and lower. And I said, so if you take out all the people that are 60 and older, you barely have a blip on the radar screen, right? And so that seemed to me to argue in favor of a more moderate, more intelligent approach to say, okay, how about we make sure we protect senior citizens, right? Because they're the ones who are most vulnerable, or protect those who have weak immune systems or whatever, right? And it's almost like there was no common sense in this. The fact that they kept pushing it, and the fact that they use so many sinister tactics to get people to do it. They're using celebrities, and I know celebrities who said, "Yeah, I got approached to go on Twitter and talk about getting the jab." That just made people more distrustful of the process, because they already don't trust the government. They already don't trust big pharma. It's not like this is coming out of nowhere, because not only do you have things like the Tuskegee experiment and what happened with Henrietta Lacks and all the other crap, you also have I saw a whole documentary, not documentary, it was like a little segment about maybe 10 minutes on The Hill, thehill.com, which is not an extremist platform at all. And on this little segment, this lady literally told the whole story about how when AIDS first came out, Dr. Fauci and his team literally did almost the exact same playbook. Exact same playbook. Oh, this thing is out. We're gonna have a vaccine in a year, right? And then they're like, oh, we got this drug called AZT. Everybody needs to take it. Everybody take it. And some of the doctors were like, well, this doesn't seem to be working with my patients. This is actually killing them and making them sicker. Oh, you're anti. What's wrong with you're killing people with your misinformation, misinformation, right? And literally now we know the whole history. We know that AZT was literally killing people. We know that no, you ain't got no vaccine for HIV in the first year. And of course, this is different, right? This is a different virus. But, it's like, where's your damn credibility? You expect me to just give you credibility because you're demanding it? I'm not going to give you credibility because you demand it. I'm going to give you credibility because you earned it. You have not earned my credibility. I apologize, but that's just what it's going to be. Jeff, you get the last word. I've talked too much. Please go ahead.
Yes, no. So just for anybody like Letitia Wright or Kyrie Irving, anybody that's in the same kind of fight, the biggest thing, and spoke about this, is that, and I heard Doc speak about this as well in our last panel about Dave Chappelle, is like when you give up the love for money and the lust for money, when you're financially secure, but give up the greed to have even more money and in abundance of money, making decisions like this are a lot easier, right? If Letitia Wright was someone who was just seeking out just to be the most, rich and wealthy and just greedy kind of person, she wouldn't be taking the stance, because you potentially, if you get fired from Disney or fired from Black Panther, you're potentially giving up the biggest bag, right? The biggest payday of your
Mhm.
actor and or actress career, right? So the fact that she is still willing to stick by her guns and potentially give it all up lets me know that she is in a different space, right? She is on a higher plane. She is someone that can, hey, I've made enough money, or I have other ways of making money that doesn't just include Disney. Same with Kyrie Irving. He is someone who's made a lot of money during his NBA career, and he is someone willing to give that up. And so, just to anybody, any regular everyday person, once you create streams of income or ways that you can potentially walk away from that job if they have a jab mandate, or walk away from a situation that you feel uncomfortable being in, but you're only there because they're going to give you a paycheck, it makes things a whole lot easier. So I salute Letitia Wright, Kyrie Irving, and anybody else that's in that
Mhm.
situation. Just continue to fight, and let these people know, like you said, my body, my choice, and I should be able to decide whether or not I want to inject something into my own body.
Yeah, yeah. I would almost say for anybody that gives a shit what I think, make the decision that works best for you. Don't let anybody push you too much. Just know that whatever decision you make, good or bad, um, none of the people who support you or are against you are going to be there to help you if your decision goes wrong. Like that literally will be your decision. Like, you are the quarterback who will be back in the pocket by yourself, and you will get, like, or the boxer who has to go in the ring. You can't bring, Deontay Wilder could not bring his entourage in the ring with Tyson Fury. We saw how that ended out. And life is kind of like that too. When you make that choice, that's going to be your choice,
Mhm.
and I think, and that's what goes through my mind whenever I make a decision and I got a billion people in my ear. I always have people in my ear, boys, do this, boys, do that. And I'm hearing all that. I'm taking it all in. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, look, y'all, okay, all y'all shut up now. I'm going to make this choice because I know that if it's the wrong choice, I'm gonna be paying that price.
Mhm.
Ain't none of y'all gonna be here to fix it, right? You might be there for moral support, but you're not. So if you don't get it and it's the wrong choice, yeah, you might. I had to acknowledge that if I'm making the wrong choice and I don't get it and I need it, I'm not 20 years old. I'm 50, right? And I'm on the cusp, right, of that danger age. So I was like, so I had to literally imagine, like, okay, how would that feel if I went down and I'm in the hospital and people are saying I told you so, and I had to live with that and I'm okay with that. Like, so if I went down, don't y'all think for 1 second, like if that ever happens to me, I want everybody to just know this, because when I'm kind of a little bit of a public figure. When I go places, I shake hands, I meet people, I'm in a lot of spaces. People brought that to me. Just know, mark this word. If that ever happens to me, don't think I'm gonna be sitting in the hospital bed thinking, man, dang, that was such a stupid decision. I should have done it. No, I'm gonna say, you know what? You took a chance, boys, and now there's accountability to be
Mhm.
had. I'm okay with that. Okay. So I think anybody who makes that choice one way or the other needs to think about that, because let's just be clear. If you are pressuring your relatives to get the jab because you're worried about them, well, just know that they're also worried about you, because they're sitting there thinking, you don't know if this is going to affect your fertility if you're a woman. You don't know how this is going to affect if there's some long-term effect that's going to go down, right? So just be respectful, man. Like people are losing respect for each other now, and it takes me back to like how Dave Chappelle kind of challenged just really all that political correctness and everything else, because you get too many people that take this obnoxious moral high ground with the world, like I know what's best for everyone, and if you disagree with me, then I have the right to crush you because you're a danger to humanity, because your ideas are just so bad. And then I just look back and I'm like, I'm gonna give you both middle fingers, because you don't have the right to take away my freedom as a human being,
Mhm.
period. So anyway, it was great talking to you, man. Thanks for a
Always.
good conversation.
Always appreciate it, Doc, for sure. And I can't wait to even more conversations like this down there at the convention. I know it's going to open a lot of eyes and have a lot of people understanding what we're here for, and the mission that's at hand.
Yes, yes. And also thank you all for hanging out with us. This was a fun conversation. And if you want to join us at the convention, it's allblacknationalconvention.com. That's the URL. We are meeting in Orlando in I guess it's what, about 18 days now. And it's going to be a 4-day party for intelligent Black people, where we're going to get together and we're not just going to learn about everything. We got experts in everything from relationships to crypto to politics to stock market investing to health to real estate investing, and these are the best of the best. And we got people there that have done $1 billion worth of business and stuff like that. So these are really good, top notch Black excellence oriented people. And also, we're going to have fun. We're going to have a ball. We're going to have an awards ceremony. We're going to have speed dating. We're going to have a backyard barbecue. So it's going to be awesome. So if you'd like to come down to Orlando and have some fun, go to allblacknaturalconvention.com. Bring your family, bring your church group. Also, we welcome vendors. If you want to be a vendor, I think there are a couple vendor spots left. I can't quite remember. I don't know if they're full or not, but also there's room for sponsors too. So if you want to sponsor and your business is doing well and you want us to use this platform to give more publicity to your business, that's what sponsors get, basically. So you can look at our sponsorship packages. Also, we just have to approve the business, though. We can't take sponsorship money from anybody, but we will consider some Black-owned businesses. So anyway, guys, we are out of here. Please have a great day. Thanks a lot, Jeff Lightsey Jr. I appreciate your time. And let me put Jeff's Instagram. Everybody go follow Jeff. Follow Jeff on Twitter and Instagram. Jeff is a smart dude and a really sharp young brother. And he sits here and lets me ramble on as an angry old man, shaking his fist at the air. So I appreciate that. All right. So y'all have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.